The Tier List Man is back, and today I will be providing a somewhat objective, though very opinionated tier list on all of the weapons in Arc Raiders. Now, there's a bit of nuance here, as I will be ranking every weapon twice. The first tier list will be about their performance when they are unmodified, unupgraded Tier 1 pieces of garbage. The second tier list will rank them based on their merits when they are fully upgraded and fully modified. Starting off the unupgraded tier list is the Hairpin. Perhaps the only thing that we can all universally agree upon is that the Hairpin sucks. It is not good. It is a slow firing, low penetration, low damage bolt action pistol. It can barely kill the weakest arc enemies, and as for players, it's a Welrod, a weapon that was designed for stealthy assassinations in a game where you cannot one-tap people. Yeah, unless the enemy player is on their knees thinking about the rabbits, this is probably not going to kill anybody. While it can be used as a tool to take out cameras or metal detectors, even if the enemy doesn't hear the gunshot, it's still fairly loud when the camera breaks, so I don't put much faith in that. It maybe if it was a quick use tool, it could have more viability, but as it is, it's just not worth the slot in my opinion. F tier. Then there's the Kettle. The Kettle is not great. The bullets droop, the reload takes 3 centuries, the penetration rivals that of a BB gun, and honestly, you're left wishing you got almost any other free kit. If you catch a solo by surprise, then yeah, you can drop them. Otherwise, enjoy the loading screen. D tier. The Stitcher. Now we're getting somewhere. The Stitcher is the baseline weapon. Even at tier 1, it's solid at close range and is far more capable than you might expect. That being said, beyond like 12 meters, it's a fairly miserable experience. This close range requirement exacerbates another issue, and that is the long reload time. I'm guessing the bolt is rusty because you really gotta yank on that charging handle, and being out of ammo 3 feet in front of somebody is what we would refer to as a non-conducive situation. It has its struggles, but from a tier 1 unmodified weapon, you really can't ask for much more. Remember how earlier I said that when you get the Kettle out of a free kit, you were wishing for almost anything else? Well, the Rattler is the exception. At tier 1, the Rattler has a 10-round magazine with each round doing 9 damage, in a game where every raider has 100 health. Can you see the problem here? Even if the enemy is completely unshielded, something that never happens, you can't kill them with a full magazine unless you send every round into their skull. Also, it takes a long time to reload because you have to top feed 2 rounds at a time into an assault rifle. It's saved somewhat by its medium range performance, but if I'm being honest, when I shoot at a threat and I empty my magazine into it, I really want it to no longer be a threat at that point. I'd rather have a Kettle. The Rattler is going into D tier. Then there's the always reliable Pharaoh. At tier 1, the reload time on this thing is pretty long, but considering its long range performance, this is a weakness that can be worked around. It is one of the best bang for your buck weapons in the game. Grab one of these and you can make just about anyone crap their pants. But what if the enemy gets too close to me? Well, simple. You pull out your secondary. If you are bringing a Pharaoh, grab a sidearm. The Pharaoh Stitcher combo is probably the best tier 1 budget loadout you can get your hands on. The Pharaoh itself is going into B tier. Even unupgraded, the Anvil is really good. It's just a multi-shot Pharaoh. At long range, it's a devastating force to be reckoned with. Sure, the rate of fire isn't the fastest, but unless they are right up in your face, a follow-up shot is not hard to hit. Even close up, 1 round to the chest typically takes enough health to make the enemy reconsider their push. If you have cover and can hit your flicks, there is no reason you shouldn't win with this thing. Add in the fact that it can reliably deal with swarms of arc drones, particularly the bastard child that is the Hornet, and you see why this is one of the most run weapons in the game. A tier. The Apogee, or Archipelago, or whatever the hell this thing is called, is a solid weapon to pull out of field crates. The burst fire mode is a little wonky, but it does a good job at getting 3 rounds in about the same spot. At tier 1, it's one of the more versatile weapons that you can get your hands on, but the slow rate of fire and the burst mechanic can screw you over if the enemy gets too close. It's alright, but it's less consistent than other options. C tier. The Berletta is a weapon that I personally love, but it's one of the few weapons that I don't think you should bother upgrading. All you gain from upgrading this pistol are better durability and a faster reload, both of which are very useful, particularly the reload. However, they aren't super necessary considering this thing's role, and that is, it's a sidearm. You grab a Pharaoh, use that to chunk somebody's health bar, and then whip this out to finish the job. You can find them anywhere, so there's no need to craft them, and it will fire as fast as you can click. It's good to go right out the box, but I do recommend picking up an extended mag, as those 5 extra rounds can go a long way. Even so, the tier 1 Berletta is going into B tier. The El Toro is a weapon that really struggles without upgrades. It's a pump action shotgun that you use in close range, and your raider loves to take his time to rack another shell. Pump it a little faster, please. There are 3 guys right in front of you, one of whom has a fresh load of buckshot in their face, and he isn't too pleased about that. At tier 1, it just shoots far too slow to reliably kill enemies in close quarters, and for that, it's going into D tier. The Renegade has the most contrast between a tier 1 and tier 4 version of a weapon. At tier 1, this thing shoots so damn slowly that it struggles in any form of PvP. I would rather have a Pharaoh. It's okay at killing lightly armored Arc, but isn't great at much else. D tier. The Osprey is a fine weapon. Whether you upgrade it or not, it's always got a scope and is the perfect tool to pester players from long distances. It's a sniper rifle and carries all the advantages and disadvantages of a weapon with that label. I am personally not a huge fan of it for reasons I'll get into later, but for now, it's going into B tier. The Venator at tier 1 is not fantastic. Unlike the Berletta, this thing has a fire rate limit, and it's pretty slow unupgraded. Using a tier 1 Venator is sacrilege because you are holding a ball of potential and completely wasting it. Do not bring a tier 1 Venator into raid. C tier. The Torrent does benefit from its upgrades, which granted a larger magazine capacity, faster reload, and better durability. That being said, even at tier 1, it's still a 60 round LMG that'll delete whatever direction you need it to. Don't get me wrong, the upgrades and its advantages are very helpful, but stock will still shred players and squads alike. It's a menace up close regardless and is going into A tier. The Volcano is likewise terrifying regardless of tier or modifications. Unupgraded, it will shred anything up close. Personally, I don't recommend bringing it in at tier 1 solely because it can be so much more. However, if I hear a Volcano in a building, I don't care what tier it is, my ass is not going in there. S tier. The same cannot be said for the Bobcat. Unmodified, the Bobcat is all over the place. It's wild, unwieldy, and with the high rate of fire and small magazine, you've got like a quarter of a second of fun time before you are empty. Honestly, I would rather have a Stitcher than a stock Bobcat. This thing is a stash queen until you have the resources to fully upgrade it. C tier. Then there's the Tempest. The Tempest is the most versatile weapon in the game. There's a reason it's compared to the M4. Even at tier 1, it'll do whatever you need it to. Is a guy way over there? It'll poke him. Is a guy up close? It'll hose him down. It's not the best at anything, it's just really effective at everything. I will be comfortable with a Tempest in any situation. S tier, even unupgraded. You should still upgrade it though. Finally, we have the Batina, the most accessible epic grade weapon since apparently the blueprint to craft it is the single most common scrap of paper in Italy. It's fully automatic, uses heavy ammo, and is decently controllable, making it an effective tool for hunting players and especially Arc. Not quite as good as the Tempest in my opinion, but still very strong. A tier. And that wraps up the first tier list of unmodified weapons. If I'm being entirely honest, if you don't have the resources to upgrade weapons and unlock their full potential, then really you should be using an Anvil or a Pharaoh as a primary, and then bringing a Stitcher or a Berletta as a secondary. That is the kit you should run until you have the resources to really let these other weapons shine. Now, before I rank everything according to their fully upgraded, fully modified stats, my channel sponsor GamerSupps just dropped their new line of canned energy drinks, which are sugar-free, and they also are dropping a new flavor. If that is not to your preference, they also sell it by the tub in powdered form. Good tasting, clean energy drinks at an excellent price, and code LaVivi will get you 10% off your order. Use the link below to check it out. Anyways, the Hairpin, even well fully upgraded, is still bad. It's not good. You can't save this weapon. I know there are some creators who like this thing and are advocating for it, but if I'm being honest, the clip I saw them using it, any other weapon would have served them better. And also the people they were fighting definitely had a brain-eating amoeba in their head. So it's not doing a whole lot for this weapon in my opinion. Still F tier. The fully upgraded kettle is definitely an improvement as the bullet velocity is now much higher, so its rounds go in a straight line. That being said, it isn't enough in my opinion. This weapon still just can't differentiate itself from other superior options like the Stitcher. Its only redeeming quality is that the sound it makes when you flick off the air canister is about as close as we'll get to a Garand ping in this game. Speaking of which, what is the purpose of that air canister? It clearly shoots bullets that use gunpowder, so where's the pneumatic element? If they wanted to make the kettle more interesting, I say they reduce the damage slightly and just make it an air gun. Make it completely stealthy like the hairpin, except it can actually kill people. As it stands though, there is nothing special about it. D tier. The tier 4 Stitcher might seem like a cheap throwaway gun, and it kind of is, but it's also menacing as hell. To get the most out of this thing, give it a horizontal grip, a compensator, a stock, and an extended magazine. Only use the gray attachments. Anything more than that is just massively diminishing returns. Throw some adrenaline into the equation and you get the junky bum rush kit. Fully upgraded, the reload is almost instantaneous, meaning by the time the enemy realizes you're out of ammo and decides to swing on you, you have a fresh magazine to meet them with. It's an incredibly effective weapon for the price and just overall. A tier. Now that you have 22 rounds to work with, the Rattler can actually kill things. When fully upgraded, it's the most average weapon in the game. It has a decent mag capacity, a fine rate of fire, acceptable range, and is affordable. The major drawback remains the slow reload as you're still top feeding 2 rounds at a time. Against solos and more passive teams, it's pretty effective, but if they decide to rush you as soon as you dump your magazine, there isn't a whole lot you can do. C tier. Now back to the old reliable Pharaoh. When fully upgraded, this thing has an alarmingly fast reload, turning it into the elephant rifle from hell. This is what they use to kill all the buffalo. It's terrifying. If you want to wipe half the lobby with a pipe you pulled out of the trash and put a fresh coat of paint on, here it is. Incredibly satisfying and effective, A tier. The level 4 anvil is the best bang for your buck tool in the game. It's pretty easy to craft or upgrade, and its performance is stellar. It doesn't matter if the enemy is far or close, it'll hit them like a train, and there are 5 more rounds coming. Again, it's a Pharaoh, but with a much higher rate of fire and a lot more sex appeal. If you've ever wanted to roleplay as a post-apocalyptic cowboy dropping squads with a revolver that is far better than it should be, use this. Easy S tier. Alright, a tier 4 arpeggio can be very good, but where this weapon goes is down to personal taste. It's got a pretty high rate of fire, which coupled with the burst can drop somebody very fast. I have friends who love this thing and have found a lot of success with it. But if you don't like the burst setting, then you're probably not gonna like the gun that much. And me personally, I haven't had much luck with it, so I'm gonna throw it into B tier. The Berletta is one of the few weapons that I would argue is just not worth upgrading. The faster reload speed is good, but it's not worth the resources when a modified Stitcher will serve you better. It's a fine weapon, it's just not worth investing into besides an extended magazine. However you find it is how you should run it, C tier. If they wanted to make it more viable, they should decrease the weight. There is no reason a pistol should weigh 4 kilograms. What is it, made out of tungsten? Once upgraded, the Guillermo del Toro transforms from a slow-firing piece of trash into a close-range menace. The increased rate of fire is a godsend, especially considering the increased mag capacity. You can easily slam 12 shells into 1 magazine, which is more than enough for our intentions. It's pretty situational, but if you get that fight in a building, you're gonna have a good time. Quick peek doors and hallways, and you can easily wipe a squad on your own. A tier. The Renegade. Yet again, a weapon that was basically worthless transforms into a high damage, high rate of fire masterpiece of destruction. Like the Anvil, the Renegade is versatile, laying down heat both up close and from afar. If you want, take this thing and an Anvil and you become a cowboy-pilled nightmare for Arc and players alike. A tier. Now the Osprey. This will likely be a more controversial take, but I don't care much for this weapon. Fully upgraded, it's good, but it only shoots slightly faster than the Pharaoh. Now, its main draw is obviously its scope, but in my opinion, engaging people from a distance where a scope is necessary is very rarely worth anything. You can't one-tap anybody, and if you're too far away, you can't push fast enough to capitalize on whatever damage you might have done. If you want to kill someone who isn't an idiot that just repeats the same corner over and over again, you're gonna need to get close enough that a scope is a detriment more than an asset. As far as viability goes, I don't think it's that worth the resources, so I'm putting it into B tier. Now we get back around to the Venator. I don't have much to say here because the weapon speaks for itself. Fully upgraded, the Venator has a 66% faster firing speed. That is enough to turn it into one of the best PvP weapons in the game. You'll see someone with it, and suddenly your health bar is just gone. And maybe this double-barreled 1911 will be more to your preference. S tier. Fully upgraded, the Torrent increases its mag capacity from 60 to 90 and has a faster reload speed. Not a huge difference gameplay-wise, this just allows you to be far more liberal with your suppressing fire. If you aren't WM1ing like a pyro with a flog, you're doing it wrong. Pull the trigger, walk them down, simple as. A tier. Okay, in close quarters, an El Toro is scary, but a tier 4 Volcano is basically a death sentence. If you hear one in a building, just don't. It's not worth it. You have a better chance of stopping a semi-truck with your forehead than you do of winning that fight. This thing will turn your entire squad into mulch before you even exit your running animation. It's very situational, but it's literally the best option possible in that situation. S tier. The Bobcat can be good, it just needs a lot of help. You have to fully upgrade it, then you have to equip it with a good muzzle device, stock, foregrip, and the biggest magazine that you can find. Once you have all of that, then you can use this to shred people at close range. I definitely prefer the Volcano over the Bobcat, but it is very effective. A tier. The Tempest returns, and it's just more of the same. The upgrades make its reload faster and give it better controllability, so it's even more versatile. I have dropped squads in buildings, and I have counter-sniped pharaohs with this lovely little bullpup. Just keep in mind, it will lose against specialized tools like the Volcano or the Bobcat in close quarters, so make sure that you are using your brain to leverage the versatility of this weapon and give yourself an advantage in each fight. S tier. The Bettina at tier 4 occupies a very similar role to the Tempest, except you just really hate arc. It's very effective at medium to long range, and while a bit weaker up close, it'll still outshoot anything with the exception of a Volcano, Bobcat, or maybe a Tempest. Best of all, you can craft it. A tier for versatility and accessibility. And that's all she wrote. I am not going to be ranking the Hullcracker, Jupiter, or Equalizer since those are squarely arc hunting weapons and kind of in a league of their own and doing their own thing. So I don't think they're super comparable to everything else here. Otherwise, that'll do it for this video. If you are watching this right as it went up, then I am currently live on Twitch, so be sure to come say hi. Otherwise, just thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoyed. Bro, that shit better